Hi, I'm Joe, and today I've got the next in my series of what I think are Halloween appropriate builds, Lego set number 70424, Ghost Train Express. This was a set from the short-lived Hidden Side theme, which I feel like is a cross between the older Monster Fighters theme and the current Lego Dreams theme, where it's a series of builds that are supposed to be spooky, and it had a tie-in to like an augmented reality app where you point your camera at the build and you play a game along with it. Now, I never got into any of the games because I could barely make it function any more than just point the camera at the right place and button mash, because I never actually figured out how to play. And I think the Hidden Side theme suffered for that, but there's actually some really good builds. And right now it looks pretty much just like a regular train, but there's a little more to it than meets the eye. So let's get a closer look at the elements of this set. I'll start here with the engine, and I'll go ahead and admit right away, I am not a very knowledgeable person when it comes to trains. So I'll just say this is the engine. And there's some sticker details on here. There's a little bit of brick built detail with the pearl gold grill pieces and the 1x1 round plates. The top looks like it's got two horns, and it is symmetrical on the other side. There's nothing too crazy going on there. The second car here looks like it is someplace where you can perform medical experiments or some type of supernatural paranormal experimentation in this cell, because it opens up and has two studs on the bottom where you can place a minifigure and trap them inside for all your ghoulish needs. There's also a place here where you can place a minifigure. And down here, there's a little bit of a dial, and it changes colors. Let me see if I can make it do that. There we go. That's part of the online game where you have to turn the circle there so the correct color is showing at the right time so that you can continue in the game or achieve something. Again, I never had a great feel for how that worked. The last car here looks like it's some kind of special ray, some type of laser gun. It does turn. It also has a spot for placing a figure. That also might be relevant to the game. The three cars are connected using ball joints. The last car has the more familiar, to me anyway, magnet joint. So if you wanted to add more cars to the train, then that's how you would connect them. But this train is not powered. There's no motor that came with the set. There's also no instructions for how to motorize it. There were 4 pieces of straight track included, and we have the end of the line here. It does have the connector for a ball joint, and that's because the train here actually has a connection there, and you could actually make sure the train doesn't move, or at least doesn't roll away, by connecting it there. In addition to the 4 pieces of straight track, we also get like I don't know what you call this, I just call it the ramp that helps you get the train on the rails. We also get a small train station, and again, lots of stickers showing like there's broken glass. This is what I thought was a fairly neat little steps build, and the station is designed to be attached to the tracks. And then on the inside, there's not a whole lot of detail. Just looks like a station there, or someplace where you can get train schedules or tickets, and just places for your figures to stand. So why is the theme called Hidden Side? Because at first glance, it just looks like a regular train, except for maybe some bizarre lab equipment here. But that's because there are some hidden features, and the most notable one is right here on the engine. This is a lever, which if I flip it, there are wings that sprout off of the engine. There's also another lever right here on the side that opens the front and makes it look like it's some type of monster with teeth and the lights kind of forming either nostrils or eyes. And so now we've got our haunted ghost train. In addition to the train, the station also has some hidden features where this sign flips up, and the clock and the lamp here flip up, and it looks like we've got a monster face and hands reaching on top of the station. And now we have some explanation as to why there are stickers right here on the canopy over the station. And so I think that makes a very cool little feature to give your train station a little bit spookier vibe. There are 6 minifigures that come in this set. The first 2 here are Jack and Parker. They are the main characters of the Hidden Side series, and they are ghost hunters. And JB is some type of laboratory mad scientist who also helps the ghost hunters. We get this guy here with the banana on his shirt. His name is not known to me at this time. He is just a bystander. And then we've got 2 zombies that look like they work for the train company. And they come with both regular heads and zombie heads. Here they are with their zombie heads, which are a trans green. If I can remove her hair, I'll show you.
One eternity later.
So there's the translucent green head, and it's very similar on the conductor here, it looks like. But they also come with regular heads and hair. And here they are with their regular heads, and it shows that they're actually just normal. If you wanted to display the set as a non-zombified set, you could do it that way. But it also shows that these are regular people that are somehow being transformed into these ghostly creatures, which is part of the game and theme of Hidden Side. So while I think this does make a great display piece, and that's probably all I'll ever use it for because I don't really have a lot of room for running model trains, I am going to try and motorize it. Now, I have never motorized a Lego train without Lego instructions on how to do it, so this should be an interesting experiment. I do have a powered up train motor and battery box. This is probably my spare train accessories that I got for the Holiday Main Street set to motorize the trolley. But I believe that I should be able to connect the motor here on the back of the engine, as that's the only train car that actually has the plate with the hole in it that the Technic pin on the train motor will fit into. And I believe the battery box will fit in here. This car is hollow, so I think that's intentional so that you could put the battery box inside if you wanted to motorize it. However, I'll have to move the order of the cars around. Conveniently, these are modules that just sit on a couple of studs, so they would be easy to move around if I chose to do that. This one's a little harder just because it's a plate, but I could put that in here, and I'll just have to figure out how to get the cable between the box and the motor, but I'm going to give it a shot first on my own, and then if it's not working out, I'll probably do some searching on YouTube to see if I can get some help. But I'll come back in just a minute, and we'll see how this experiment goes. All right, we're back. I've given it my best effort, and I've set up some track here. And turns out that to make an oval out of Lego track goes a little bit farther than the table will allow. So I've used my immense civil engineering knowledge to be able to support the track here a little bit. And by the way, I've never studied civil engineering, but I'm just using some boxes to help prop the track up as it goes over the edge. And I've got the motor installed, and let's see what happens. Now you may notice I'm running it at the absolute lowest speed because there were some complications in getting this to work, but as you can see, I do have it functioning on some level. So let's look at some of the details of what it took to make this train motorized. So as I said before, I ended up using the powered up remote train motor and battery box or control hub or whatever you want to call it. And the first thing I did to make that happen is I switched the order of the back 2 cars because this car here is kind of more suitable towards putting a battery box in, and it fit directly inside. And I don't have an easy way to take the top off to turn it on and off, but if I take that panel off, I can reach the button, and I'll go ahead and turn it off for now. I'll go ahead and leave that off so we can turn it on again later. Now, I did have to leave a door open to be able to get a cord to plug into the powered up hub. because there's no natural gap there. But since there are doors on this particular car, I figured that would be easiest. And I left the door open before I put it back onto the car because of this railing is going to be in the way. I can't open it enough to be able to get that wire in there and have it plugged in. Most of the modifications I made had to be done here in the engine. So I did start by putting the motor into the same Technic hole. See if we can see it in there. It's hard to tell, but there's 3 holes in there, and it's the one in the middle. That's where the original piece like this was connected. And I just connected the motor in here, and the only other piece I added to it was the piece that has the connector to the car behind it. Now, this is the part that the powered up motor is replacing. The biggest difference is that this piece here is 8 studs long. The powered up motor is 10 studs long. So when this piece here, which is the ball joint connector, is attached here, it sticks out by 1 stud. But to keep it in the same relative position, I first tried attaching it to the powered up motor, having it flush to the edge of that motor. When I did have the connector put all the way back, so it was flush with the back of the motor, it looked correct, but the connection there is so tight that this motor will not rotate. And so when I would drive around the corner of the track, the wheels would come off. Here, I'll show a quick demonstration. Here the wheels are on the track, and it's going to go straight, and there it pops off. So without that back part being able to rotate, then it can't go around turns. So my solution for getting around that was to move this connector piece back 1 stud, and it does allow for just enough movement for this motor to turn so the train can go around a standard Lego turn. As for other modifications I made on this, I want to emphasize that other than the train motor and the control hub / battery box, I did not add any additional pieces to the model. I did take some pieces out. This piece here was underneath the engine, right here in the gap, and this was also going to prevent the motor from being able to rotate, so I took it out. I don't think it's structurally necessary. Then this piece here is what was covering up these holes on the inside of the train, which is where I would need to be able to route the cable that connects the motor to the hub. And then finally, this piece I took out because we need some place for the cable to come out of the back of the engine so it can connect to the car behind it. And as for this gray wedge, this was part of the conductor's compartment, which with this plate gone, there was nothing to connect it to. It would have fallen through the other hole here, so it's not really necessary to the model. Looking at the inside here, the only real modification other than removing that long tan plate is just making sure you keep the cable out of the way of everything. And there actually was already a built-in gap here where you see these gray plates on the right, the gray tile there. And it was just a matter of removing that tile and putting the cable in and putting the tile back in, and that natural gap works to keep the cable out of the way. So not only does this modification make the train run, but the play feature also still works. The cable connecting the train motor to the hub is completely out of the way, and of course this function wouldn't be affected. And you can even run the train with the wings out. You can actually run the train with the wings out even with the station attached, as long as it's running forward, because the wing will just be pushed back in as it goes past the station. Thank you for watching my video about the hidden side ghost train and my attempt to motorize it. This is very satisfying that I was actually able to make it work, even if there are some imperfections and some parts I wish I could have done better. I've always wanted a haunted train of some sort ever since I saw the Monster Fighters ghost train, which is something I've wanted pretty much ever since I learned it existed, which of course was after it retired. It was going to be exorbitantly expensive. So this is why I got the hidden side train back when it was new. And yes, it's sat on my shelf for, I'm guessing, at least 6 years, if not 7. Enough that I actually broke the seal on the box and got ready to start building it, but never opened any of the bags, and I put it away. And I finally have just been inspired to get it back out to actually build it and try this motorization thing. I did look around on YouTube for other motorization ideas for this train after I did my attempt, just because I wanted to see what other people had done. And curiously, I think this is the first one I've seen that used powered up and not power functions. And a lot of the others I saw that used power functions, once they installed everything, the wings didn't work anymore. So this is, I think, very cool that, at least as far as I was able to find out, I was able to get this motorized and keep the wings on the engine able to be deployed. So I'm very satisfied by that. And I hope you enjoyed my video about this. Special thanks to Blue Bricks for providing all these extra bricks. That again is more bricks from the Star Trek Enterprise set that I got from Blue Bricks that had the extra bag of 300 plus parts that I didn't use. I still have some more Halloween builds to do, and I'm looking forward to making videos about them. But until then, remember, today is a good day to build.